Hello everybody. In this small presentation, I am going to tell you about the facial nerve lesions. Rather, I would be telling as well as at the same time you can assume that it's sort of a self-assessment test because I'll be giving few in 5 seconds, let's say 5 seconds for you, so you can assess the answers yourself. Okay, so let's begin this test. It's about the facial nerve lesions at various sites. Okay, so let's see number one, one by one. The following slide which I'm going to present now, they will provide examples of how lesions at different locations can affect the different functions. So after extensive teaching about the facial nerve, now let's see how much you remember. Question number one. You've been seeing this diagram in my previous lecture, right? So can you see the site of lesion? This is the site of lesion we're talking about, right? So on effect of lesion here, one effect of lesion here, uh, between the branching of stapedial nerve and the branching of chorda tympani nerve, right here. So what would be out of these different lesions? What would be the answer? Will there be paralysis of the facial muscles? Will there be decreased sensations of soft palate? Will there be increased sensitivity to loud noise? Will there be loss of taste from hard palate? So all these B, C, and D, you can as by now you will understood that these are being brought up from above to this point of lesion. So what is being lost here is the paralysis of the facial muscles. Got it? So I believe if you guessed this right, you're good. Now let's move to the next question number 2. Again, see the site of lesion is same here as at a lesion here between the branching of stapedial nerve and the branching of chorda tympani. The site of lesion is same here. Will also cause. So what else will it cause if the lesion is here? So option number 1 says loss of light touch from the soft palate. Will it be there? Loss of taste from the soft palate. Then loss of taste from the anterior two-third of the tongue. Loss of temperature from the soft palate. In that long lecture, I have taught you in detail about different branches, different functional components. So I believe you have understood that all the choices here, A, B, and D, they are all being assessed from the portion above to the site of lesion. So from below to the site of lesion, it's this chorda tympani running out, right? So there will be loss of taste from the anterior two-third of the tongue. Got it? So there you got it right. Okay. Next, let's move to question number 4. A lesion here between the, you can see, and now the lesion site is reached above. A lesion here between the branching of the, greater superficial petrosal nerve and the branching of stapedial nerve. The lesion is between greater superficial petrosal and stapedial nerve at this point. So it will spare. Read again. The question is asking what will be spared, right? So choice is that the taste of anterior two-third of the tongue, will it be spared? Taste from the hard palate, will it be spared? Salivation in oral cavity, will it be spared? And ipsilateral facial expressions, will it be spared? Now think about which of the following choices after injury at here, which of the following choices will be spared, right? So taste sensation from anterior two-third, remember it is chorda tympani. Taste sensation from hard palate, this is from greater superficial petrosal. Salivation in oral cavity, chorda tympani. Ipsilateral facial, that's a terminal branch of facial nerve. So all of them are from below. What remains? What's coming from above is, yes. So taste from the hard palate will be spared. Okay, so got correct. Now let's move to the next question number 5. Now look here, the site of lesion is same. The site of lesion says a lesion here between the branching of greater petrosal nerve and the branching of stapedial nerve will also, they have again asked like what will be spared. So light touch from the soft palate, will it be spared? Ability to smile, will it be spared? Taste from the anterior two-thirds of the tongue, will it be spared? Protection, protraction of the inner ear, protection of the inner ear from the loud noises. We are talking about the stapedius muscle. So, there is only one branch left above which is intact, the rest all the branches and the sensations will be blocked, right. So, you like remember the soft palate sensations are being brought in from the greater superficial petrosal nerve. So, the answer will be light touch from the greater superficial petrosal nerve. Okay, now before winding it up, let me tell you some important points which are left out in this clinical scenario questions. While talking about smile, right, there was an option that was saying like, will their smile be preserved or not? Let me tell you, like, if there is an infranuclear nerve paralysis, right, obviously it will be flaccid type of paralysis of the same ipsilateral half of the face, and of course you know that's called Bell's palsy. If it's at the stylomastoid foramen, it's called Bell's palsy. Now look here, in this person will not be able to smile, and if she will, if the patient will try to smile, his opposite side, the normal side, the lips will be pulled towards the normal side, means opposite side. So this patient will be all the time, conscious, and she will try not to smile in front of people. This will be a cause of embarrassment, a social stigma, right? So it brings in a lot of social insecurities. Then what happens is, like, let me tell you that this person, although when if she's a patient, like I'm talking as a female patient, if she like sitting and thinking of a past good memories, and she thinks of some good happenings in her life, and then she starts smiling. So this automatic smile, this is a natural smile, right? Natural means unconscious smile. Like talking, smile can be of two types, right? One is like, voluntary smile. Somebody cracked the joke and you smile. Now this is like when this is a voluntary type of smile. Or I mean, if sorry, not this one which is coming natural, but if somebody asked to smile, if a doctor, if you are a patient of this facial nerve paralysis and a doctor asked you to smile, so there you cannot smile because your face will be pulled to the normal side. But when it comes to natural smile is from the mind, right? Then let me tell you, this person, this subject, this patient will bring it natural, symmetric, bilaterally symmetrical smile. This will be intact. Why will this natural smile will be intact in the patient of Bell's palsy? Let me tell you, because these connections are not from the lower motor neurons, right? From this, this facial nerve nucleus. And you've been taught about the supranuclear fibers, infranuclear fibers, supranuclear fibers to the upper half of the face are coming by having a bilateral representation. Supranuclear fibers for the lower half of the face are having only contranuclear representation. That you all know it very well, and that's why in supranuclear paralysis there is paralysis of the contralateral lower quadrant of the face, that also and in the lower infranuclear paralysis, the ipsilateral half of the face is paralyzed. That is all well established, I've already taught you. Now the focus is here, why in unconscious state of, subconsciously unintentional smile, rather the word is unintentional smile, will be a symmetrical smile. Why will be this? Because let me tell you, these fibers, the upper motor neurons for the intrinsic natural smile, are coming through the extrapyramidal tracts, not through the corticospinal pathway. So, because they're having a different pathway, the upper motor neurons for a natural smile are coming from a different pathway, not through the corticonuclear pathway. And that's why it's presumed when there is a lesion, we are talking about lesion of upper motor neurons, right? Supranuclear paralysis when you're talking about upper motor neurons. So we are excluding the extrapyramidal pathway. So in case if so because the extrapyramidal pathway is intact, there will be natural smile patent present in a person with Bell's palsy. Okay. So that was about the smile thing that I have just now told you about the smile. Remember, natural smile has been covered. Natural smile. Natural smile is present in Bell's palsy. That I have, it is present in Bell's palsy. Okay. Hold on. Let me again remind you, there is a correction. If you are listening carefully, there is a correction. What correction? What correction? Very important correction. Not in Bell's palsy. Remember, if you are listening continuously, that's why I always say listen my lectures till the end. There is this correction because if there is a lower infranuclear paralysis, means what, the lower fibers from the nucleus to the muscles, they have been damaged, so there will be no smile, neither symmetrical, neither asymmetrical, neither genuine, neither intentional, neither unintentional, no smile possible, because symmetrical smile is not possible because the lower motor neurons are paralyzed. Here I am talking is about supranuclear paralysis. Make sure it is, I am writing it clear cut here. So natural smile is present in supranuclear facial nerve paralysis. So natural smile will be present in supranuclear, because I told you supranuclear corticonuclear fibers के damage होने पे the extrapyramidal fibers will bring about the unintentional or natural smile. Now then, another thing about this facial nerve very important is crocodile tears. Let me mention this also, crocodile tears. What about crocodile tears? Crocodile tears, this pathway of, this pathway of all, for the lacrimal gland is this. And if there is any lesion here at this greater superficial at the geniculate ganglion, let's say if there is any lesion here at the geniculate ganglion, and at the geniculate ganglion there are fibers reaching down here to the chorda tympani also, and that's carrying preganglionic parasympathetic fibers to the salivary glands, submandibular and sublingual. Got it? So if there is a lesion here, and after a lesion there will be obviously these these fibers will try to regenerate, right? So if there is after regeneration of these axons, there might be intermingling of fibers of salivatory fibers which are actually meant to run down into the chorda tympani here at this this geniculate ganglions. Those parasympathetic secretomotor fibers to the salivary glands white might merge and will regrow into the endoneural sheaths of the lacrimatory pathway. So fibers which were meant to run down after an injury, they might regenerate and will regenerate and might grow into the endoneural sheath of the parasympathetic fibers going for the lacrimal gland. So what happens in crocodile ears? The person will cry while eating. The person will cry while eating because its salivatory fibers have reached into the lacrimal gland. That's called crocodile tears, right? Another important thing is about the neonate handling. Neonate handling. This I am talking is at the difficult labor, or you can say parturition. At the time of difficult parturition, sometimes the obstetrician might try to this is a vertex presentation, and there are manipulations done to pull out the head of the newborn neonate, or you can say the newborn, right? So while handling the head of a newborn or a neonate, one must always be you should take care of that. You should not put pressure behind the ears. Why? Because remember, there is no mastoid process in a neonate, and that mastoid process develops by the age of 2 years of life. So, because if you are pressing behind the ear, actually you are pressing upon the stylomastoid foramen, which is placed superficially in a neonate because of no mastoid. So you might compress upon the stylomastoid foramen and might damage the facial nerve of the neonate. So, and that will lead to a Bell's palsy in a neonate. However, because the neonate is not so expressful in facial expressions, you might not admire those expressions in a neonate in that first month of life. But you might find this difference. What will be that difference? Yes, he or she, the newborn, will not be able to suckle the milk, right? So buccinator will be paralyzed, and this the mother will be able to guess and tell the obstetrician or the gynecologist that she is not sucking the milk. Got it? So this will be the sign for facial nerve paralysis in a neonate. Okay. Okay, now what else remains is yes, here I'm not talking about supranuclear, infranuclear, or Bell's paralysis. There's already a lecture uploaded. Now, important thing that remains is Ramsay Hunt syndrome. There are also questions asked from this. So remember, if they talk about Ramsay Hunt syndrome, remember they're talking is about lesion here at the geniculate ganglion. And what type of lesion? Now this lesion is a viral lesion. This is herpes zoster virus. Herpes zoster virus infects, normally all the sensory ganglions. In case of remember the dorsal root ganglion at the spinal nerve, that also is been infected by herpes zoster virus, and the virus lodges there, and in conditions of immunodeficiency, or sometimes it might flare up upon the root of the nerve and might cause that papules, macules, and those vesicles around that dermatome onto which that spinal nerve supplies in case of infection of DRG, and that is called shingles, right? Similarly, this is homologous to a sensory ganglion. Any other sensory ganglion is same as this geniculate ganglion or facial nerve. So the infection, if it is flares up from it, remember it will follow the course of the cutaneous pathway, and that is general somatic afferent. Got it? Because you've learned about the shingles, then the spinal nerve, the these vesicles will flare up according to the innervation of the general somatic afferent. So here also the general somatic afferent, the course is here, right? This is the course of general somatic afferent. So obviously there will lesion here, so all this thing will be lost. What will you find in Ramsay Hunt syndrome? There will be no tearing, right? Tearing will be lost, no tearing, नो टीयरिंग, नो सलाइवेशन, सलाइवेशन भी लॉस्ट हो जाएगा, और क्या होगा, व्हाट एल्स, बेल्स पाल्सी, बेल्स पाल्सी फीचर्स, ऑल ऑफ बेल्स पाल्सी भी हो जाएंगे. ओके. Taste sensation will be lost. Taste, taste sensation from palate, from anterior two-third of the tongue. All this will be there, except of course the this circumvallate papillae, that is taste is brought in through the glossopharyngeal nerve. So what else? This, all this is already been taught in the lesion here at geniculate ganglion. Touch, touch from soft palate, that will also be lost, right? Touch, pain, temperature, cold, everything. Purpose here, important here, remember what will be present. All these are absent, but what will be present? Remember, vesicles, external auditory meatus, or sometimes at the concha of the pinna. They might write the pinna also. So external auditory meatus, or you can say the concha of the pinna, you will find vesicles. So this is the hallmark, this is the identifying feature of Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. So I think I have covered up all the important clinical applied portions of the facial nerve here. So I have done, I think I have done, it's complete. Okay, thank you.